All right. Looks like we've got good connection, good speeds. Hey guys, welcome to another stream. I actually did this live stream yesterday. I'm doing it again because for whatever reason, I got to the end of 40 minutes and I realized that it had dropped to 94% of the frames and it didn't actually upload everything. So I'll be keeping a keen eye on those frames today. To make this very, very succinct and pretty clear, this is just the process that I use to close a $30,000 a month, not month, a year client in my agency. And this video is just designed to, one, if any clients see this who are in the same industry, so the client who we are servicing is in the hospitality, or you could look at it as a restaurant or cafe industry, and this is how we intend to help them. So if you're in that industry and you want to help yourself, you can also follow some of these processes and do it yourself to increase the revenue in your business, or find an agency in your local area and give them this plan, pardon me, and they will be able to do it for you. So essentially, to give you a little bit of background and a little bit of history before I jump into the pitch deck that I had prepared for them, which is this one right here. Before I jump into that, I will give you a little bit of history. So this particular client, before sending them the pitch deck, I sat down with them for an hour. We organized an hour meeting at the cafe. I went in about 2 hours before the actual meeting in order to scout the cafe, take a look around, see the things that I personally think are working and the things that are not working. We scheduled the time for the meeting to be around 10 a.m. and I got there about 8:30, close to 9 a.m. and ordered some food, ordered a couple things, sat down, checked out the service, because we don't just work with any business. We're going to first see if you're a business that's worth working with, because some businesses, if you've got terrible service, no matter the amount of marketing that's done, it's not going to help you, because people will only come once and then they don't come back. We want to work with businesses that have essentially the building blocks to something greater. So good foundations plus marketing equals growth. Now, I sat down with this owner for about an hour and he told me all of the challenges and problems that were happening in his business and why he'd never gone through marketing as of yet, and he hadn't actually turned on the marketing tap. And the reason was because when he started the cafe, he felt as though it wasn't ready for marketing. The walls hadn't been done, the floors hadn't been done, the kitchen needed revamping, the signage needed redoing, the entire area needed to be revamped, to be spruced up, and for more life to be brought into the place. And now, when I sat down with him, I identified the challenges that his online digital storefront, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, website, they didn't look anything like the cafe looked inside. And the cafe was really lacking on that front, because it's a beautiful cafe. The staff members are really engaging, very vibrant people. The chef is always creating new dishes, beautiful, delicious food, great service, great vibes. They're a little bit off from the main road, tucked into like a corner in a certain area of Sydney, and that wasn't great for the cafe's visibility, but the signage is massive and they do get some all right traffic on the road that they are facing. However, it's not on the main road. So they are in a little bit of a hidden away little area, but some people consider that to be quite quaint and really like a little, oh, this is a jewel, this is a find. So let's jump into the pitch deck that I pitched him after learning his issues and problems and challenges that he was facing. And remember, you do probably have to understand the business that you are pitching to beforehand, because this pitch deck addresses a lot of the challenges and pain points that he raised to me, which I was then able to implement and put into, well, not implement, but put into this pitch deck to 0.8 frames. Okay, great. To address. So let's jump into the pitch deck itself. And then we'll turn my camera on right there. Okay. So this, we'll go right through it. I don't want to take a heck of a lot of time explaining it. I'll make this pitch deck available to anyone who needs it or requests it. I'll just redact the information about the business name and so on and so forth. So marketing proposal. So here we just have business name. So here we're going to go B, business name. In fact, let's do that in red. Yeah, let's do that in red. Here we're going to go business name. Anywhere where I put BN, that's business name. and again, business name. So business name marketing proposal, prepared for business name, a practical phased approach to growing your cafe's revenue through stronger content and smarter customer retention, prepared by your business name in this instance. So my business name is Rees Media, so we'll go there. Now, so again, business name here, BN, and again, BN right there. So business name marketing summary, their business name. Business name has something most cafes don't, a genuinely strong in-person experience, which is what I said, a beautiful interior and quality food worth talking about. The gap is online. Right now, the digital presence doesn't reflect how good the cafe actually is, and the customer database collected through your POS and loyalty system is sitting largely unused. In this page, I highlight the problem and the issue that is stopping them from getting to the next stage in their revenue. So I'll go through it a little bit more, but essentially their POS system is gold, literally gold. Their POS system can print them money because the POS system has a QR code attached to it, in which people can scan and then download an app or give their details. And every time they now scan through this app, they gain points. And this points system allows them to get discounts on food or entirely free food or coffee and so on and so forth. So if they're not leveraging that database that they've collected, and when I last checked, they had about 400 people on there, and that's huge, because if you can get even 5 or 10% of those 400 people to come back to the cafe on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, you'll boost your cafe's revenue from anywhere to $3,000 to $5,000, depending on the average spend of each person shopping or coming in and purchasing food. So it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And over time, that will actually grow, because the more people that visit the cafe, the more people you can get into the POS system, the more people you can remind to come back and spend their points. And when they come and spend their points, typically they're not just going to buy one thing. They might not just get a coffee. They'll get a coffee and a cookie, a coffee and a meal, a coffee and something else. So reminding them to come back is really important. And you can also incentivize them to come back for other things. So I'm just telling them about my opinion of their cafe here. And then I'm also telling them the recommended approach, which is very important. I'm not giving the full solution too early on. It's too overwhelming, but I'm just highlighting the problems, their opportunity. It's important to highlight the opportunity. Again, I've told them my opinion. Then we go to the recommended approach and opportunity. It's very, very important that we look at these things. So in the recommended approach, I said, build a high quality content engine for social media to capture new customers and maintain a consistent brand image across the business. So this is the part of the social media in which my team and I will create viral social media content, not just viral, but relevant to their target market, showcasing the food and making the page look beautiful. I want the page to look like people can lick the food through their phone. People are going to look at that and say, "Oh, I do want to go here." Or if they already are looking to go there, then they go on the social media, they'll be even further convinced. So then we reactivate existing customers through email and SMS. So we'll be using email and SMS to reach out to the existing customers who already have points or maybe don't have points, providing them with occasional additional offers with a time limit to create urgency, as well as letting them know that, for example, the chef does do weekly things or monthly or seasonal things, because maybe certain fruits and certain foods could be seasonal. We'll let people know about the seasonal offers. We'll also let people know about the weekly offers. I was in the cafe just yesterday and 2 days ago, and I purchased a couple of really, really delicious pieces of cake and cupcakes. And in fact, some of the cupcakes, I think he made like blueberry cupcakes and raspberry cupcakes and different types. And some of these fruits, for whatever reason, were harder to come by, and some of these fruits are seasonal, right? So letting people know about these things as they are being made, as they're coming in, is a really, really great thing. You can actually boost sales just like that. I'll go into how I talked about that in the pitch deck. So we're actually on page 2 of the pitch deck. We've only gone to 2 pages. The pitch deck in and of itself is only 10 pages because I like to keep things very clear and succinct. But let's move on. And then we want to establish, okay, so reactivating existing customers through email and SMS. Think of an email or text message that goes out to your customer saying, we miss you. You've got X points towards your next order from us, and here's an additional discount towards a coffee with your next meal on us. This discount expires next week. We're looking forward to seeing you again soon. So again, creating that urgency so that people can come into the store and enjoy some food. Establish a strong foundation before spending on influencers and mini events. So this is something that was mentioned to me in the initial meeting with the business owner, and I told him that this is something that you do not want to do immediately. You need to first get your digital storefront ready and prepared before you invest in a influencer marketing campaign of some sort. So the next part is where I highlight the current problem that the cafe is having. Right? So the current problem, 2 specific gaps, and again here, business name. 2 specific gaps are limiting business names' ability to convert interest into visits and visits into loyal regulars, right? We want loyal regulars because it is 5 times cheaper to retain a customer as opposed to acquiring a new one. So we want to retain as many customers as possible as we gain new customers. So problem number 1. The online presence doesn't match reality. Your cafe looks premium in person, but when someone searches for you, checks your Instagram, or finds you on TikTok or Facebook, what they see doesn't reflect that. Weak visuals and inconsistent posting reduce the likelihood that curious locals will actually walk through the door. Right? We want curious locals to walk through the door. We want the online presence of the business to be just as phenomenal and amazing as the in-person experience. We want a cohesive experience across the board. The second one, problem 2, customer data is being collected but not used. This is a huge one because this is low-hanging fruit for the business. If they activated this, they could immediately just ramp up sales. Like immediately. It wouldn't even take a month to see a difference by activating this. But it's about the systems and processes that you have behind the scenes to automate this, because somebody doing it, it takes a lot of time. The business owner is already busy doing a lot of different things. Doing this by himself would take a lot of time, which is where we come in. So your POS system and loyalty program are capturing customer contact details every day. That list represents people who already like your cafe. They're your easiest, cheapest source of repeat revenue. Currently, that data isn't being activated through any structured email or SMS outreach. That's money left on the table every single month. And again, as you can see by the 3rd page, I've reiterated the problem, and I'm now going into the problem with more depth and information as things go on. And then I'm also now going to outline the opportunity. So I've said here, both gaps are fixable. This reassures the owner that you're pitching to that we can address these problems. And fixing them doesn't require a large budget or a long runway. The upside is real and measurable. Stronger visual brand. This is important. Consistent high quality content makes a business name here look as good online as it does in person, as I discussed and as I said earlier, turning browsers into visitors. Little story, I'll go on a very, very short tangent. I went to dinner with a few people, and the younger people, it's Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Z, yeah. When we were in the restaurant, we were already there, but we were in the restaurant and there was a menu. The very, very first thing that the younger people were doing, we were looking at the menu. I still like looking at menus. I typically don't look at the online Instagram photos of the food or how the photos of the food is reviewed or rated online before actually making a choice on a meal. I just like to make things very simple. I just pick. But I did see that they were scrolling the TikTok and Instagram of the particular restaurant we were in until they found the meal they were looking for. And then they looked at it, and then they swiped to find a video of the meal being served and what it looked like. And that's how they made their choice and their decision. And I've also experienced my wife, whenever I've suggested a restaurant, she'll go online and look online to see if she can find some information about the restaurant and the photos that the restaurant actually is putting up, which I found to be very, very interesting. And so it's very accurate and very true that people in today's day and age are checking social media to see if they like your restaurant, to see if they like the vibe, to see if they like the food. If they can lick the food through the phone, they're more than likely going to attend. All right. So stronger visual brand is very important. More local awareness. Now this is also important. So regular posting on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok puts business name in front of locals who haven't discovered you yet. Now this is not paid ads. This is just regular posting. We're looking for organic reach. More repeat visits. So repeat visits are important. Reactivating existing customers costs far less than acquiring new ones. As I said, it's 5 times cheaper to retain a customer as opposed to acquire a new one. And your database makes this possible today because they already have a database already have a large database of people. Better use of data. So customer information you've already collected gets put to work through targeted, timely email and SMS campaigns. Now that's page 4. So all we've done on page 4 is outline the opportunity that is missing. And then here we talk about this. We start the discussion about the strategy. So this is a 2-part system. Each part solves a specific problem and works better because the other part exists. So I outlined this so that I wouldn't get the question, or if I did get the question, I can always refer back to the pitch deck and say, we can't necessarily implement one without the other. It is very important that we work on the foundations as well as everything else, because we could implement the email marketing campaign, but it will convert better if we already know that the digital storefront, which is social media and the website, look phenomenal. If those don't look good, it's unlikely that, it is still likely that we'll convert with the email and text message marketing to the people who have already been to the restaurant. However, it is much better to reach 2 different audiences at the same time. So an audience that have already bought from you is likely to buy from you again if they buy the second time. An audience that hasn't bought from you, we want to bring them in so that we can start feeding the POS machine more new customers, right? So this holistically is a better growth strategy overall, instead of just focusing on number 2 by itself. And that's why I put them together. So here I just reiterate what part 1 is: content and social media. I'm expanding on things as I go so as not to make it too exhausting. Professional filming, editing, and scheduling of content across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. 5 posts per week, consistent. So we'll be doing 5 posts, 5 videos per week, consistent, on brand, and visually strong enough to convert interest into visits. Then on part 2, setup and management of customer reactivation. So via Go High Level. So I'm telling them how I'm doing it. Using your existing POS, I'm telling them that they already have the things that they need, and loyalty data to bring customers back who haven't visited recently. And then I just remind them these two work together. Better content builds trust with new customers and existing customers, while email and SMS bring them back consistently. One creates attention, the other converts it into revenue. So then we've got the next page. Why this before influencers? And now I'm just justifying why I've made this decision for their plan as opposed to jumping straight to influencers. So and this is only in there because he did raise what he had been told to do. He'd been advised to actually go through influencer marketing, and I personally didn't think that was the best way to go, because I looked at their business online and it needed to be worked on before going through with influencers. So influencers create attention, weak foundations waste it. So we want to work on the foundations so we don't waste the attention. And then I just break it down. If someone sees a great influencer post about business name, so their business name, and visits your Instagram and it looks inconsistent or uninspiring, you've lost them. Traffic goes nowhere. Next part, existing customers are cheaper to re-engage, and I've said this and I've reiterated it a couple times already, and that's the same thing I want him to understand, that we want to work on those existing customers to re-engage them because they're cheaper to re-engage than cold audiences. Here we are. You already have a warm list. Using it first gives you a faster, lower cost route to measurable ROI before spending on external promotions. Next thing, foundation first, amplification second. Once the content engine is running and retention is working, influencer campaigns or event marketing can be layered in, and they'll actually perform because the foundation supports them. Yep. And this is so this is me telling him, this is when we will do the influencer marketing. And then the scope of work. So this page right here tells him in a very brief summary, if he was to, like, now we're summarizing everything that we've discussed and how we'll do it. Filming, so 2 dedicated filming days per month at business name, professional, which involves professional capture of food, drinks, atmosphere, and team. We're going to do different types of content. Scheduling and posting, we do all the scheduling and posting. We also do all the editing, so full post-production editing for reels, short form video, and static content, which is on brand and platform optimized. Email and SMS campaign. This is again reactivating the existing customer database, and we do that through Go High Level. I'm not an affiliate of Go High Level or anything. It's just the platform that we use and we find works very, very well for us. And then we talk about the expected ROI. This is important for most business owners to know, but we never guarantee. We can never guarantee the expected ROI. We can only talk from experience what that could potentially look like. The truth is that marketing will always work if you do enough of it. And it needs to be priced well enough that you can still make a profit out of it. The math on this makes sense. We've done the math, we've looked at it. The numbers that they could potentially return are actually probably stronger than this. These are conservative numbers, which is what I've said. So I've said conservative. So the following ranges are honest forecasts, not guarantees. Results depend on the size of your customer database, average customer spend, offer quality, and how consistently the strategy is executed. That's very, very important that we execute the strategy on a consistent basis, because that's how we'll know if it works and we can measure that. So conservative, we said plus $4,000 to $6,000 a month. Now, if we were to look at just the amount of customers in the database at the moment, as I said, if we were to look at converting them even at a low conversion rate, we would still be bringing in more money than they are paying for. And as that database grows, it'll be better. And as the content compounds that as well, it'll be better. Realistic, so conservative, realistic, and strong. Now these, what I've said is break 4,000 to 6,000 a month, break even to modest return. Strategy is working, early traction building. We can expect a break even to a slight loss in the first month whilst assets, content, and automations are built and begin to execute. 1.5x to 3x return on spend, content and retention driving consistent repeat visits. This type of return can be expected with strong implementation, transformation of online page, and aggressive use of the customer retention system you already have in place. Again, aggressive use of the customer retention system we already have in place. And we will be aggressively using that because we haven't been. I think I was there. No, I was there just a couple of days ago, and I was actually in the POS system setting everything up. And a customer came in, and one of the staff members said, have you joined our loyalty program so that you can earn points? And the customer said, oh, I don't think so. Then she said, okay, you just scan the QR code and put in your information, and then you get to, it'll sign you up. He scans the QR code, and then he says, oh, it says I've already signed up in the system. We checked the system and he was already in there. So that goes to show that, and he actually already had points. It's funny. That goes to show that this retention system isn't being used. And some people who already have points could be told, come back, you can get a free coffee. Come back, you can get a steak sandwich. Come back, you can get a cake. Come back, you can get a cookie. People will come back for that. And typically when they do, they probably won't just come back for the free coffee. They'll come back and purchase something else because they want to keep those points going as well. So that system not being leveraged is a big thumbs down. And so we have strong. Now, strong 3x return, I told them what that would look like. Strong database, so 12,000 plus. Strong database, solid offer, high customer response rate. You'll see high returns on investment when all systems are working consistently as they compound over time due to the increased number of visitors and a larger database of customers to contact. So if they had a database of 10,000 customers and we converted 500 of those customers in a month to return to the cafe to just eat something, that's a lot of people. And that's, if we were to just say 500, do some simple maths, 500 multiplied by the average customer order of $30, we're looking at $15,000 already. It's higher than 12,000. We want to build that database, and we can do that. And we'll do that and do that and do that. So the numbers that I'm talking about are not out of this world. It's very possible for any cafe to do this. It's just more about the understanding. And that's monthly. So if they were to pay an agency to do this for them, $30,000 a year, it's really nothing. What is that, 1/5 of the profits? Might not necessarily be profits, but 1/5 of the additional revenue. All right, what drives these results? So database size, average spend per visit, strength of the offer, which is what I've said. So investment, so this is where you'd put the dollar figure that you're talking about. And again here, what the setup costs for any additional services that you do. Yep. So you put your dollar figure in here, whatever the charge is, whatever you're charging, dollar figure, dollar figure, dollar figure. And all inclusive monthly package covering content, social media management, and retention campaigns, full platform setup and integration included as a value add. What's included at this price? You might say, oh, Mupo, you made a mistake here. You said 3 filming days per month here. And in the previous one, you said 2. No, that was on purpose because I did want them to know that they are actually getting better value. Typically, this is what we do, but this is what we're doing for you. We're giving you better value. And I illustrated this here. 3 filming days per month, 5 posts per week, we explain that up at the top, all the same. This is just the investment page that tells them what they are paying because we hadn't discussed the money. And again, the investment page, that is the 9th page. So all the way down at the bottom, typically when you're pitching this, you actually want to read this over the phone with the client. You don't just want to, this is an important one that I actually want people to understand. When you're talking money, you don't want to talk money over a pitch deck. You don't want to just send them a pitch deck and say, this is the cost. You want to run them through it through a meeting of some sort. So that could be a Zoom meeting, that could be a Google Meet meeting. You need to run this through with your client over a meeting. It's very important that you do that and you're not just sending them this pitch deck. The difference is I sent them this pitch deck because after our initial meeting, I absolutely knew that I was going to close this deal. I did want to do it over a meeting. However, they were too busy to accommodate a meeting. So I did send this to them and we closed the deal. So let's go back and finish off the rest of this pitch deck and the logic. At the realistic forecast, the investment returns 1.5 to 4x in additional revenue, where even at the conservative forecast, so business name here, business name is at break even or better, while building a content library and a working retention system that compounds over time, which is where the higher returns on investment will be. So go high level integration, again, price here. And if you want this, I will make it available and you can just download it in your own time at any time. Recommendation and next steps. So this is where I tell them, I don't ever want to leave a customer wondering, okay, what do I do now if I do want to sign up? So I tell them, so for recommendation, the smartest move right now is to start with phase 1. So I tell them, go here first. Build on the foundation, prove the numbers, then scale. So phase 1, what is phase 1? So content and online presence. Get consistently high quality content live across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So we're going to start straight away with the content. And hold on a moment. We start straight away with the content. go. Yep, fantastic. All right. So we start straight away with the content, and then we move to a business name would go here. We move to activate customer re-engagement, set up, go high level and launch, etc. And then number 3 here, stay consistent for 60 to 90 days and let the systems run, layer mini events and food influencers when ready. So this is the very, very last part. And typically when we get to this stage, we will implement an entirely new plan, because this plan, the first 3 stages will be running, and this is just an additional add-on. So we'll do something completely different once things get to that point, and we can see, okay, we're pulling in the revenue, we've now got that disposable income to say, all right, let's work on more marketing, or are we happy with how things are going and we just keep things going as they are and don't get too aggressive with it. But there are always different ways to add to marketing. So phase 1, content online presence, activate customer re-engagement. That is super important. I can't stress that enough. This one is super important. And then we just continue doing that over an extended period of time and measure the results. And that's that. So this pitch deck, again, which is about 10 pages, is the pitch deck that I use to close a client. And it's very, very important that when you are closing these clients, you're very realistic. You want to get good results for the clients so that you are able to, 1, get referred to the next client, and 2, also take a case study away, such as this, and talk about it and share it. The reason why I do these videos, I want people in business, people aspiring to be in business, people with agencies, and customers and clients who do want to work with us to understand what working with us actually looks like, how we do things. I'm very transparent. I like to share this information so that you can do it for yourself if you want to. And yeah, let's go from there. So if you've got any questions, just leave a question in the comments section, and